On a quiet Wednesday night, when the veil between questions and answers grows thin, one woman steps forward with a deck full of truth. At 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the IMpACT Podcasting Network's welcome back the incomparable Lin Sibulski, our giving partner, our guide, our teller of stories written in the cards. If you've got a question, let your fingers summon it. Type it into the chat and watch Lynn work her magic, asking the cards to speak with clarity, compassion, and just a hint of mischief. And if you want even more insight, you can find Lynn through Community Pay It Forward, where every reading helps support a mission you love. This Wednesday, step into the circle. The cards are waiting.
Today, I want to shine a light on an organization doing truly beautiful work, Dignify Dementia. Their mission is simple, powerful, and deeply needed. They help families navigate the challenges of dementia with dignity, compassion, and real-world support. They understand that dementia doesn't just affect one person, it affects entire families. And they step in with resources, education, and comfort to make sure no one walks that journey alone. And in the spirit of comfort, connection, and care, Dignified Dementia has donated something incredibly special to support the Come Together Compass, a beautifully stitched, fur-lined blanket. This blanket isn't just warm, it represents the comfort we all deserve. It represents the support we all need, and it represents the kindness that keeps our community strong. Every dollar donated gets your name on the wheel of giving. $1, 1 spot. $5, 5 spots. Every donation helps us continue building the Come Together Compass, a system designed to guide families, veterans, and neighbors to the help they need when they need it most. And yes, one lucky supporter is going home with this incredible blanket from Dignified Dementia. This event runs through April 1st, and every contribution brings us one step closer to making sure no one faces crisis alone. Dignified Dementia stepped up with comfort. Now we're asking you to step up with support. Together, we can build a community where compassion isn't just a word, it's an action. And the Come Together Compass makes that possible.
Born into a real fight wasn't right. Where can she dream here? Took a hold of her life, left at night, stepping out of her fear. Bring me home, out of love.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zach with Community Pay It Forward, the Come Together Compass, and the IMpACT Podcasting Network. I would like to welcome you all to Community IMpACT. This is our show for every Wednesday where we begin at 7 p.m. East by replaying last week's show. I am very sorry about my camera. I've got to get this camera replaced. It is not acting right. But we begin the show every week, starting this week, as a matter of fact, with last week's show. And this week we're going to begin by replaying Lynn's Day, which is our once a month wonderful show that we get to do with our giving partner, Lin Sibulski. as she pulls out the old tarot deck and reads for many, many people. Anybody who takes and sends in a message in the chats, they get to have have whatever the card reads, and it is amazing. Okay, am I going to say that I truly believe in tarot readings? I'm going to say I've been impressed with what I've seen. Okay. My tarot actually gets, I get a reading on this episode. So, and it was something I've been struggling with for a long, long time. And it is kind of funny, some of the things that happen. I am pretty outspoken on this episode. And so it really was kind of a shock to me. Following that, we're going to have our first edition of the Aviva show, where Aviva Chanskin Guttman is joining us. She'll be joining us the fourth Wednesday of every month. And she'll be talking about another form of healing. This one's a little different. This has to do with tapping and breathing. She is a licensed therapist. So yes, there is a little bit of difference in here. But see, the thing is that's perfect because we're trying to get across to everyone. Our point for this whole thing is to make sure that people understand that, you know what? Healing is not a one-size-fits-all anything. Healing looks different to every single one of us. So I'd like for you to join me in reliving last week. And of course, you can send in, if you wish, you can send in a comment, and next month we'll have Lynn read for you. But for right now, this is a recording. Just remember that. But this is last month's Lynn's Day with our dear friend, Lin Sibulski. Now, you can also make sure you mark your calendar. They're called calendars, but you can mark your calendar for Wednesday at 8 p.m. East, right here on this channel, and the third Wednesday of the month at 8 p.m. East. Let me see, that is going to be Wednesday the 15th. So you can join us on Wednesday the 15th at 8 p.m. East right here on the IMpACT channels, and you can get a live reading. All you have to do is come on and put in a question. Lynn will join us. If you are interested in having your story told, because that is what we are here to do. No, you do not have to be a member of Community Pay It Forward. We want you to be. We would love for you to be. But you don't have to be. But contact me at zach@communitypayitforward.us. Once again, that is zach@communitypayitforward.us. And you can get a hold of me and say, Zach, I'd love for you to interview me. I'd love to tell my story. I'd love to be heard. It's as simple as that. We do talk in our third interview, which is coming up in a little bit, with Jeff Pearson from Hydra with Hope. And we really talk about how important it is for you to make sure you tell that story. It is vital for other people to be able to hear your story, even if you think there's nothing to it. There's someone out there that your story, your struggles, your wins, your losses, it's going to have an effect on someone else. And it's hopefully going to be exactly what someone needs to help them out of the difficulty they're going through. So please get a hold of me at, there it is, zach@communitypayitforward.us, and let's talk. The QR code up in the corner is so you can be part of helping us build the Come Together Compass. We need your support. We desperately need the financial assistance. So any donation is gratefully appreciated. Just scan the QR code, and every time you donate $1, you get your name on the wheel of giving. You donate $5, you get your name on the giving wheel of giving 5 times. $10, 10 times. $20, 20 times. $100, 100 times. Of course, chances are better the more times you get. But you know what? The one thing I can guarantee you is that the chances that we're going to be able to do good with your donation, that's a guarantee. We need your help. Please donate today. Now, because this has been slow, we are having to delay the giving out. And so April 1st, not going to work. Unless something amazing happens. We have to gain at least $150. Partly because, folks, we got to pay to deliver this thing. And it is a heavy-duty, beautifully put together blanket. I'll pull it up again. Donated by our friends at Dignified Dementia. Beautiful blanket. Fleece-lined. Very soft. Very beautiful blanket. Donated by our friends at Dignified Dementia. We've also got other gifts that we're going to be giving away at that same time, but we need your help. So please donate, support the Come Together Compass. Now, once again, this is a repeat of last week's Lynn's Day. So one of the things that you can do is you can check out Lynn's page by going to her Footnotes Tarot page on Community Pay It Forward. That right there is the QR code. Go to her Footnotes Tarot page, which is helping us raise money for other people. All you have to do is Lynn offers us a referral every time somebody goes to her from Community Pay It Forward. You just say, hey, Community Pay It Forward sent me, and you get to help someone who has asked us to help them raise money for them. Someone like Jeff with Hydro for Hope. But first off, once again, this is our wonderful friend, third Wednesday of every month, Lynn's Day. Every Friday, people across the country put on red for one reason: to honor the women and men who left the comfort of home so we can live freely. These shirts are not about politics. They are not about a war. They are not about religion. They are about gratitude. They are about respect. They are about remembering everyone deployed. When you purchase one, you help us launch the Come Together Compass, a program built to guide families and heroes to the support that they need. Wear your pride, wear your gratitude, support Red Friday. Remember everyone deployed.
Hey friends, I've been thinking, we all have our strengths, right? There are things I'm great at and things I'm definitely not great at. I can talk to anyone, anywhere, but ask me to add something to a website or an app. Yeah, that's where things get a little messy. Oops, I love speaking, I love sharing stories, but social media, all those hashtags, algorithms, trends, that's a jungle I still haven't mapped out. Now, coming up with ideas that bring people together, that's my sweet spot. But bookkeeping, let's just say numbers, and I have agreed to stay in separate corners. And you know what? That's okay, because someone out there is good at those things. And when we work together, that's when the magic happens. Community Pay It Forward has never been about one person. It's a program built by many to support even more. Every single one of us brings something special to the table. We all have talents that make us strong on our own. But imagine how powerful we become when we combine them. That's the heart of Community Pay It Forward. Your skills, my skills, our hearts, working side by side to make a real difference. So tell me, what are you good at? Let's discover it together. Visit communitypayitforward.us and join the movement.
Hello world, my name is Z, or you can call me Mr. Z. I am a web developer and I am also a consultant at Z World Webs. My one goal is to develop custom websites that are specifically catered to your organization's needs. I completely understand that building a website is an exhilarating, exciting, and significant step in connecting with your audience. Your organization has Z potential to make a meaningful impact, whether it's supporting animal rights, advocating for equality, combating human trafficking, or honoring the brave individuals who have served our country. Your mission is too important to be held back by the challenges a website can present, and I am here to ensure that your website works for you, not against you. Whether it's maintaining, developing, or redeveloping a custom website that is specifically catered to your needs. And with that being said, I would be more than delighted to learn more about your organization and, of course, develop a website Z World is waiting for.
Born into a real fight wasn't right. Where can she dream here? Took a hold of her life, left at night, stepping out of her fear. Bring me home, out alone.
God, I get so excited every time I hear that song. I love that guy. If you're in northern Colorado, you're in Wyoming, southern Colorado, Kansas, somewhere, give me a call. Find out about hiring Theron to come and play your event. And just a special message to all of my friends. We lost another one of our really, really good friends this last week. As we get a little bit older, we understand that that's part of life. You know, people don't live forever, obviously. But in this group of people, you know, that were around for me right after my motorcycle accident, you know, we've lost quite a few people, and in a recent amount of time, and it's really sad. And I do want to tell people, you know what? That's one of the reasons why it's so important that we keep up with each other. We keep reaching out to each other because we never know when it's going to end. And I'm not talking about making an end of life decision or anything like that. I'm just talking about, you don't know when your ticket's going to get punched. Okay? To put it quite frankly, you don't know, you know, we all know our birth date. None of us know our death date. That's just the way it is. So we need to make sure that we try to continue to keep talking to everybody. I want to get to our guest tonight because she's the reason why you are all here. It's not to hear me talk, but there are a couple things that I need to let you know. You guys just saw one spot about Red Friday. We are making a huge push on Red Friday right now. And again, regardless or not, if you want to call this a war, if you don't want to call this a war, I don't give a damn. I really don't care. None of that matters to me, and I wish my camera would stay in focus. I'm really sorry about that. I think it's because my screen is so damn bright, but I don't care, because the thing is, we've lost young men and women already in this, whatever the hell you want to call it. We have over 150 people who have been injured. These are people who signed a piece of paper, who signed a pledge, and have stepped away from their families to go and fight for the way of life in that America gives us. Okay? I don't care if you support the government. Because it's not about a political party. I don't care if you support the war, because look, I don't like this war. I don't like what we're doing right now. I don't agree with it. But that doesn't matter. I still love and support the kids that are over there right now. This isn't about religion. It's about none of that. This is about the boys and girls that have signed that piece of paper. Less than 1% of them do that. And they're over there right now. And at Community Pay It Forward, we have designed a new shirt. Okay, there's 2 designs. You got a choice of 2 shirts, but you've got this one, which is, this is what I lovingly call the Adrian design. This is the one that she likes. So obviously there's no background on it, but this is the Adrian design. Like I said, this is the one that she prefers. And then option number 2, this is the Zach design, probably because it's on black, to be honest with you. So that's what I like. But again, there is no back on the design. But these are the fronts of the shirts. And you can customize your shirt. So just to let you know that. And then this is the design that we came up with for the back of the shirt, okay? And it does read, I do not wear this shirt to support a political party. I do not wear this shirt to support any war. I do not wear this shirt to promote a religion. I do not wear this shirt because it's trendy or to upset anyone. I wear this shirt for one reason, to honor every woman and man who has ever given up the comfort of home and been deployed so that I can continue to live freely and show my support in the way I choose. And we're just asking people to support Red Friday, because folks, these people, they did sign that pledge. They did say, you know what? I will give up a little bit of my freedom to go across the sea, to be away from my family. I don't care if they're still in the United States, just in a different state. None of that matters to me. What matters is they're away from their family. So, we just want to make sure that you're doing that. One last thing, you'll see a QR code up in the corner. We're asking for people to donate to help us raise money. The shirts are there to help us raise money for the Come Together Compass. Well, we've also got this wonderful blanket that was donated. Sorry. Why are you doing that, you stupid machine? Okay, this blanket was donated by Dignified Dementia. And it's a wonderful knitted blanket, if you can see. It's almost like an Afghan, but it's got a warm, like almost furry type center in it, and it's just so soft on the inside. And I keep telling people that, you know what, I would show people how soft it is. The only problem is that if I do that, I'm going to fall asleep, and then I'm not going to give the blanket away. So, but here's the way this is going to go. Every dollar you donate by using the QR code up in the corner here, you get a space on the wheel of giving. And once we reach $150 worth of donations, we've got some gifts that we're going to be giving away, and that blanket is one of the things. So if you donate $5, you get 5 chances to win. $10, 10 chances to win, so on and so forth. So this is all to go and launch the Come Together Compass. Folks, the Come Together Compass is coming along. It's coming along. Thank you, Terry. Thank you. It's coming along wonderfully. The kids are working their butts off and they're doing a great job. I get to meet with them again tomorrow. I'm excited about that, but they're doing a great job to do that. And so now you see my lovely bride here. It's time to bring on the woman of the hour, the wonderful Miss Lin Sibulski. How you doing, Lynn?
So
Well,
far, so good. How are you doing this evening?
oh, it'd be doing better if I could figure out how to work this computer thing type thing today. But yeah, it's going pretty good, pretty good. How are you?
I am doing well. I am especially excited to be here tonight because we have some really intense cosmic energy at the moment. So I'm eager to see how all of that plays out.
Well, before we get any questions in, I would like to hear from both of you. What is this retrograde that's going on? What is the meaning? That was a scary laugh. I'm sorry. That's kind of a scary laugh. So, but what is the meaning of this retrograde? I know that we're coming to an end of it. You just brought that up, but can you explain a little bit about what it is?
If you know, you know.
Yeah, no, I don't know, and it scares the hell out of me.
If you ever
It
listen to
should.
me talk, then you explain it the way it'll stick.
Yeah, I doubt it, but
So, to the naked eye, around 4 times a year, the planet Mercury appears to be moving backwards in the sky. And it's because all the planets are spinning around and going in their circles and moving in their ways. Um, but to the ancient people, all they saw was this planet moving backward. And so, um, Mercury was associated with trickster energy. It in modern times it's associated with communication, technology, travel. Um, and so, what happens, or what has been observed to happen during the periods of Mercury retrograde, is that we kind of have glitches in communication. Like, oops, I pressed, I accidentally sent that email to everybody instead of the one person I meant to reply to. Or I got a flat tire, or the light bulb in my bedroom burned out, or, my shoe sole broke off, or something like that. So we tend to see more things like that. It tends to affect devices. So your cell phones and your computers and things like that are especially sensitive. Another thing we see during retrogrades, Mercury retrogrades, are communications from people that are part of our past, that ex from high school, or that friend of a friend you haven't seen in a while, or that person who shows up on Facebook and you go, oh my gosh, I haven't thought about this person in 17 years. So that tends to happen during Mercury retrogrades. And also the returns of situations that it's time to kind of like wrap up and close and move on. So that happens 4 times a year. This first one typically happens around February or March, so right around the time that we're especially feeling winter doldrums, we usually get hit with also this Mercury retrograde. Um, and so those of us who see and feel those patterns in our lifetime, we watch for the Mercury retrograde. We try not to um, do new things on the retrograde. Supposedly, it's bad luck if you like start something during the retrograde. But if you're like taking a next step from something that's already been started, that's supposedly fine. So, all sorts of twists and nuances, but basically, it's a period of time where things can get glitchy, for good or bad, and to pay attention and expect the unexpected. And, when things show up, look at them in terms of how can I close this out and move on.
did you want to add anything to that, or?
No, apparently my low level explanation didn't stick. Did this one?
Yeah, well, kind of. Did this have anything to do with? Obviously, this has a lot to do with the solstice and the same, like I don't want to say pagan rituals because it's not really paganistic rituals, but does this have to do with, pre-Christianity and just the way that we used to look at things like that? Obviously, it has to do with the moon cycles and everything. So, is this something that they used to use as ways to farm? Was there something that had to do with the farming patterns and stuff like that?
I mean, all of these things developed together. There was a time where astrology was not a woo-woo thing. It was like woven in with, astrology, astronomy, any of the hard sciences. They were kind of, held together and used for everything from farming to, preparing for different, seasonal changes and celebrating holidays. So yeah, Mercury is part of that. And it's interesting to see different cultures have had different gods associated with Mercury, and they kind of come to similar conclusions. There's a trickster energy. That piece over here, that object, that's communication. The same way they looked at Venus and said, well, that, has to do with beauty, and it has to do with health and money and love. And the same way they looked at Saturn and said, well, that one has to do with limitations. I mean, when there was no TV and no nothing, and all anyone had was like looking up at the sky, and it was so clear to see, those patterns were just much bigger parts of people's lives, and they were encouraged because we hadn't yet moved into a place where religion wanted to control the masses and say, oh, that star you were looking at to do your farming by, don't look at that anymore, it's evil, you have to ask this other person instead. Well, we don't do it that way, we do it this way. And so it's, we have these natural cycles and we don't have a full understanding of them. I mean,
Yeah.
we see different ways where, Jupiter and Saturn, the strength of their gravitational field prevents things from hitting the Earth. Well, what other impacts do those planets have?
Yeah. Well, I was just wondering because I know Mercury was a Greek god, and you said trickster, and that obviously led me to Loki,
Yep.
which you're talking about two different, two completely different belief systems there. But yeah, there's always a trickster in religions. So, but we're asking people now, let your fingers do the typing. If you have any questions for Lynn, let's go on ahead and let's get them in the chat, and Lynn can answer them up. Lynn, I'm going to throw a question out at you.
All right.
And what do you see? How long am I going to have to deal with this goofy neck situation?
All right.
And I was being very generous when I said goofy neck situation because I wanted to say much more.
I knew it was a PG situation.
Yeah, I was looking at Q rated words there for a second.
Family, family, family.
Yeah.
So I will say this. We've selected an interesting night for me to read your cards, because the deck that I chose for tonight is called the Cosma Visions Oracle, and it's a tarot-based deck, but it has like a past life flavor to it. And because we're at this moment where we have, I told you I was going to get into the astrology, why tonight is special. So I'm in the Eastern time zone. It's like 8 something at somewhere around 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So like 30 minutes or so after our show ends, the moon will be a new moon in Pisces. So it's when like the sun and the moon and the earth are all lined up. So we can't see it, but the moon being at that anaretic degree of Pisces. Pisces is the old soul. Pisces has been around the whole zodiac. It's carrying a little piece of everybody. Pisces is wisdom and, all the things it's learned over many lifetimes. Um, and Pisces is a lot of feelings that comes with that. And so whenever we have some kind of heavy Pisces transit, we're feeling it. And this particular one is like the culmination of a bunch of other planets that were hanging out in Pisces for a while. And now this moon is kind of saying, hey, all of that, profound and emotional laden stuff, we're closing the cycle now, and then starting on Saturday when we move into Aries season, it's like we start anew. So this moment especially is, hey, what are we closing out and what are we beginning? And the first card that I pulled for you, Zach, is the Orbs, which specifically talks about people who have passed on, your loved ones who are in spirit, who are around you and saying hello and saying, hey, we check in, we see you, we hear you, we're connected. So that's the one that jumped out. We are also pulling a reversed spirit plane. Basically, what this card means, reversed, is you are in the right place at the right time. There's nothing that you did or said wrong that got you into your present situation, because I know you asked about your deck. There's nothing that you are missing in terms of something that you're supposed to be doing, but you're not. This card is saying, it's reversed because it's saying this is not an issue for you. You're exactly where you're meant to be. You're doing all the things that you need to be doing. And, the orbs are cheering and saying, thumbs up, Zach. Excellent job. So, getting back to the specifics, we are pulling a reversed 9 of lotuses, or a reversed 9 of cups. And so what this is saying is that you can enter a place where there is a lot less drugs and or things that you would need to take for pain, for inflammation, things like that. This 9 of lotuses overturned is saying we are finished with a time where that was perhaps in excess. We are also pulling a reversed unknown card. So this is saying, hey, there are some questions and some areas where we didn't have answers before, and now we're going to have answers. I strongly feel that this card is connected to some sort of second opinion. And there's a 3 months coming out, meaning like if you get that second opinion, it might be from now, say 3 months before you get to see that person. And from that point forward, you are pulling a reversed 5 of embers, a reversed conflict card. What this reading is implying is that whoever this person is that you would speak to about a second opinion, they would fill in some blanks, and then you have some other specialists here who maybe have been giving conflicting advice or lack of advice because they don't really know what they're doing. And once you see this other person, you're going to have answers, and now everybody can get on the same page instead of trying to direct things from their own silo. So it's not giving me an exact, here is the date that everything will be amazing, but it is saying you're on your way to fewer drugs and medication management, definitely seeing some kind of second opinion, and then getting your team on the same page. And the fact that you have this, spirit support that's just jumped out immediately says you're not alone on your journey.
Well, that would most definitely be nice, because I've admitted many, many times that I do have a struggle with dependency on pain pills. But when you've been in as much pain as I've been for as many years as I've been, and that of course makes it even worse because you built up a resistance to them. I did want to make one comment. Your 9 of Lotus cards, the way that you pulled that up, you know what I see when you pull up that card?
Tell me.
My MRI. that looks like an MRI of my neck. Do you
Wow.
see how it kind of goes around the
Oh,
back of the neck?
yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
that's
Wow.
exactly what I saw when I looked at that. I was like going, "Oh, that kind that gave me a tingling in my fingers." I'll be honest with you. I was a little freaked out when I saw that. So,
This is why tarot is so amazing, because it's not just, what the meaning of the cards are or who's translating, but that artwork too, and what jumps out at people is can really be amazing and significant. So cool beans.
did you have any questions with her reading? Was there anything in there that you heard that you would like to comment on?
No, I think the specialist you're going to need to see is probably, well, not need to see, but the one that's going to do the burning, the nerve burning. And then the other one, the second opinion, they're probably going to have to send you to a doctor that can wean you off the drugs and give you
Yeah,
something
yeah.
to help wean you off the drugs.
Yep. And that's going to be it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but I'll tell you I am really looking forward to a day when I don't need them anymore. And it's actually kind of funny. It was originally a doctor that was the one who was supposed to manage my pain medication, who found out that I was having who found the reason for my neck problems. He was the one who found out that my neck was bent backwards in the accident, and there were breaks in the in my neck. He was the one who found it. So, you know, uh, leave it to the guy who's supposed to keep me stoned and shut up. He's the one who found me. So,
Yeah.
uh,
And not for nothing, Pisces as a zodiac sign is also associated with anything that is drugs or an altered state of consciousness. So for us to be in this Pisces moment and clearing away the last of that Pisces cycle, the astrology also supports this is something that's coming off your plate.
all right. Well, Pisces, get the hell out of here. So. Our great friend and brand new giving partner, Aviva, has checked in. Will my most recent ex ever have insight about the cause and effect of our ending?
Is it a male? The answer is probably not.
Hey, you don't have cards.
I don't need cards for that.
And then just to let everybody know, Aviva is going to be joining us in a podcast show coming up next week. We're going to get together. We're going to record a couple of episodes either tomorrow or Friday. And then Aviva is going to be starting next week at this time slot on Wednesday. And Aviva is going to be teaching us about tapping and some other wonderful, wonderful things to heal and just learn more about ourselves. And I'm really excited about that. So I know you are a huge friend and fan of what Aviva does.
I am
So
a huge friend and fan of Aviva in general, and also of what she does. Tapping is amazing. Tapping is just, it's like your body has magic buttons that you can just press or tap and get rid of stress, and I am fascinated to no end by it. Yes, she is, Terry. Aviva's awesome. Aviva, to your question, I don't know if you saw earlier, I said that I was pulling out my past life themed deck for this evening. And like clockwork, the first card that pulled out for this reading was the past lives card. And so as it relates to your most recent ex, this card is acknowledging, hey, you guys came together for a reason. If you believe in things like soul contracts, that was a soul contract. We just talked about Pisces and the end of cycles. And so, any soul contracts that were kind of outstanding and have lost their needfulness, they're coming to an end. Is this person going to, acknowledge the things that they needed to acknowledge? I will say the long and the short of this reading is no. I think this person is going to kind of keep moving forward with the ignorance and the non level of appreciation that they have. The card that I'm pulling to represent them is the peacock. And so this is showing me someone who has a very high opinion of themselves. You know, high opinion to the point of, you know, potentially slightly delusional, but this is somebody who just has, you know, the peacock is covered in eyes, and this person is like kind of covered in eyes that are only for themselves in that way. You are being represented by the crow. You are the thing that they didn't necessarily see coming. The crow can navigate the darkness, merges with the darkness and with the unseen. And so this is you with your very special talents of just delving deeply into the psyche and darker issues associated with a person. So the reading is acknowledging that. Here's what it is saying this person is unable to do. We have a reversed 5 of lotuses or cups. That means that this person is incapable of sorting out for themselves. These are good things that happen to me. These are bad things that happen to me. Well, overall, things were good, and so good. This person kind of focuses on the negative and can't get themselves out of that cycle. They don't have the capacity to put things in proportion. And so, you know, you may both agree on the same series of events, but there are aspects that this person just blows out of proportion because that's who they are. So that part doesn't change. We are also seeing a reversed 8 of trees or rods. Trees in this deck represent growth. And so the 8 is like a high number. So it's saying, hey, this person did a significant amount of growing from this contribution that you made. But at this point, they've kind of reached the maximum of the growth they can do, or at the very least, the growth that they can do with you. So again, in general, and then this last card that came up was the sleeping ships, which means this is the type of person who can let an opportunity or a situation completely pass them by and like not notice at all. Even if it's some other gigantic ship, they just kind of pass in the night. And so it's saying that even if you had like an outsized, ginormous impact on this person's life, they're the type of person who can like pass right by and not see it for what it is. But the reading is at least saying 2 thumbs up. So it's just this person, you can only put in so much.
Well, I know that the one thing that reading most definitely did is it definitely agreed with Adrienne, and that just scares me because now she knows she's right. So, and
I've always known that. It's a man. Come on.
so I do like Aviva's reaction to the, you know, it's a good thing that her volume was down. That was really funny. I like that. So, but yeah, we've got a great friend who's going to be in town tomorrow, right?
Friday night. Tomorrow's
Oh,
Thursday.
okay. Tomorrow is Thursday. Yeah. So, but Jeremy's coming out our way. The founder. You've met him before. Yeah, the founder of Things Network. So he's coming out our direction. He's going to be staying the night here. Yeah, I do too. But usually it's the skull. It's the dent in their skull. That's about as deep as they get sometimes. So, but yeah. So we're going to. We're going to be doing some stuff, and I know that we get to work with one of our favorite nonprofits here in town, and he's going to do something to honor somebody close to him, and we're really looking forward to that. So, but so Terry, you're with us. Do you have any questions, honey? Do you have any questions?
No, not right now.
No.
No, okay. I don't know her or her situation. I was just making a smart ass comment.
No, but if you have anything that you want to be read on, or
No, but I do want to put input in. I
Yeah.
did get that job,
Excellent. Wonderful. Congratulations.
and it's a definitely a learning experience. Yeah, it's. I feel like I just started at that place.
Yeah, and you've been there for 3 years now, haven't you?
This is year 4.
Oh, year 4. Okay.
December will be 5.
So,
It
yeah.
would be interesting, Adrian, to see what year you're in, like numerology.
Yeah.
I forget how they do that, but like numerology.com. But I mean, it's something like you're adding, the letters of your name or something like that, and then it gives you whatever personal year you're in.
I'm wondering, when you reconnected with me, when you searched me out on Facebook, was that, and she was stalking. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, that's
Some call it stalking.
Yeah. No, but was that
Actually, I
in
was
one of
stalking
the
your brother.
Oh,
number
that's
one.
just wrong. But was
No.
that during a retrograde?
I
Do
don't
you
know.
remember?
I don't, but it was summer. I do know that it was summer, but our high school class came up, and so I started searching names, and his didn't come up, or no, his did, and I found you on his page, and I wasn't going to talk to him, so I had no need to talk to him. I just wanted to see what he looked like now.
Hey, you know what? That's actually I'm really glad that we brought him up. A lot of you guys met Landon on the mission for Healthy Heroes. Landon is starting his second year as a firefighter. He's been deployed out to some of the fires we have here in Colorado. So please, 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 everyone, he's my nephew. Please make sure that you keep everyone in your hearts. There's a lot of the world that's already on fire again. So if you go camping, if you're out there, come on, let's stop being so careless. I mean, yeah, fires are good every once in a while, but we need to take care of our world a little bit better, I think. So, but I know Landon is now in our state, and it's kind of funny. We told him, well, we wanted to see you again, but not like this. So I know he's excited to get out there. He's still so young and still so energetic, but boy, it scares me, knowing that being as close as we've been to forest fires before. So, but
So let's do one that's a little more. I don't want to get too specific with it, but we'll let the cards read it, because we have one of the elders that is going through some health issues, and he's one of those that doesn't want to go to the hospital, and just kind of need direction on what to do with him.
and apparently opening the door on the highway and kicking him out is not a good option.
It's not a legal option, probably.
Yeah, you're probably right there.
Well, we just
Neighbors
I
talk.
hugged on him. I don't know.
Maybe we need to go up and turn on the YouTube up on the TV up there so we can watch this. Well, let's wait to see what the reading is first. I mean, because if she's going to tell us, just leave him alone.
If he knows I'm going to hug time, he's going to be running anyway. So we probably shouldn't let him know that. I think he might still be a lot stronger than me at this point.
Okay. So I have 6 cards that decided to come out and play. So we have a reverse 7 of trees. We know this trees theme talks about growth. This being reversed is saying that there is some sort of progression that is now going to either stop or slow down, whereas before it may have felt kind of accelerated. So in terms of like how much more is this situation to manage, this card is saying this is kind of the limit of what there needs to be in terms of management. We pulled again this sleeping ships card, which is more saying from this elderly person's perspective, they are not in a place where they're able to recognize like when there is something wrong, when they need help. They just, and it's not like a lack of intuition. I think this is more like a lack of being able to interpret their own body signals. And then, like, because they can't sense something in themselves, it's hard for them to trust other people. So that's why they're digging their feet in, because they just kind of feel like there's nothing solid at all when somebody says, oh, you need help or you need this. They just don't have any self-referential thing to tie that to. We're pulling a 5 of Embers reverse, so this is the reverse conflict card. It's saying don't fight with them. There's not like, a case you're going to make that's going to really, change that. The approach that you want to use, we are pulling the Mender card. And so this is kind of saying, what can I fix for you? What isn't working for you? Basically, any way that you can avoid the word help and the warm, fuzzy feelings that you feel and want to convey, and switch it to like a more logical, what's not working, what could be improved, what are the goals. If you can get them into that mindset, then it feels like less of a threat. Here is a warning that is coming up in the deck. We're pulling the Wanderer card. This person at some point may have a tendency to wander, and I know y'all are networked in with some people that you can talk to about that, but that is an issue that can potentially come up for this person. And also, we're pulling the Infinite Paths card reversed. The vibe that I'm getting from this card is anything where this person would be like driving or, pushing carts, anything where they're kind of navigating something. If that's not already off the table, maybe start looking at that a little bit more closely, because it's saying that this person isn't going to be able to be autonomous forever in the way that some people are. And so there are going to be some plans that need to be made for that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was scary right on. A lot of it was very scary right on. So yeah, we've actually been trying to back out a little bit on him driving, because it's an unfortunate thing, but that has become a little problematic. So it's something that we've really got to work on. But so, were you going to say something?
No.
Oh, okay. But Aviva, you are working on. Let's talk about your other thing that you do there in New York. You can officiate weddings. What can people expect when they hire you to come and do a wedding?
I love this question. And so the first thing I will say is that weddings have come a long way, from ceremonies that were like very kind of traditional and cookie cutter. This is just one more way that people are trying to like do their own thing and make it personal and make it resonate with, their collective family and friends. For me, a couple's tarot reading, as silly as that sounds, makes a lot of sense. There are so many times where people kind of think they maybe want to, continue a relationship, and they say, can I get it? Can we do a couple's reading, or can you do a reading about them? I think in the context of people who are in a relationship, who are having some of those, hey, do we want to commit to this and move it forward or not? Something like a couple's tarot reading can really speak to who they were when they got together, who they've become, what the issues are going to be moving forward. And I personally feel that for some couples, that does spark some conversations that clarifies whether they should be moving forward or not. And so my business model is, if I've done a couple reading for you, that's kind of included in the package. And so people can get that reading and then decide based on that reading, oh, geez, some stuff came up. Maybe we need to think about this a little more. So, that's kind of what starts things. And then in terms of creating vows, you know, personalizing that experience, helping people, write something or think of something that is significant. And sometimes what comes up in that reading can also be, speak to how that relationship developed and how people see it. So, and weddings and officiating weddings, as you know, can be anything from, a long drawn out, 2-day party that someone wants to do to, hey, we got a couple friends, we're all gonna, have some pizza. Can you come on over to our living room and, in 10 minutes sign some paperwork and we'll have a couple beers and celebrate that way. So it's whatever is meaningful to people.
Yeah, it was actually kind of funny when I officiated our daughter's wedding. His dad walked up to me and kind of said, he asked how long the wedding was going to be, the ceremony was going to be, and I said, oh, it's not going to be very long at all. And he goes, there's no way you're going to be faster than this other wedding I was at. And he was explaining this other wedding, and I'm like going, okay, whatever. He came up to me afterwards and he goes, I cannot believe that you beat that other wedding. This was so quick, but it was beautiful. It was done beautifully. And I got a lot of compliments on it. And it is really kind of just a vibe thing. You get with the people and there's times the weddings are just, I think they're more of a pain in the butt than they are charming at times. If you, what's the old saying? The only thing worse than a Catholic wedding is a Catholic funeral.
Or the other way around.
Yeah, but those are awful. Um,
That's true.
yeah, and yeah, yeah. I know Joel and I often talk about what you were just saying, that having something, and this is a great point on having a couple's reading, because maybe you're in a relationship where something's just not right, and maybe you're just afraid to move on, or you're looking for an excuse to move on. This would be one example of something that can help you, answer that. Because look, let's be honest, when you go to couples therapy, you pretty much know what you're going there for. Nobody walks into couples therapy not knowing what the problem is. You know what the problem is. You're just almost looking for somebody to tell you, yeah, you're right, which is weird, I think, but it's true. And Joel and I often talk about, you can go into, there's three types of people. There's those who just want out, and this just gives them the validity that, yeah, this is done. We're not ready for this. There's those who, okay, I can see our problem. I don't think we're at marriage yet, but this is, we can work on these things. And those that have problems, but you know what? This is worth keeping trying. And I love the idea of throwing a little bit of the world of tarot into it. Um, I guess it'd be kind of a fun breakup, maybe, for some people.
It would.
Well, I don't know.
I've never seen a fun breakup. I don't know where you've lived or what the hell happened to you, but
I mean, no, it's true in the respect that sometimes when you see a couple that's together, one person is far more interested in that relationship moving forward than the other person, and sometimes they do just kind of, that's and that's the other thing too, especially if I'm doing like an event. And, typically you're reading single people, and every once in a while a couple will be like, hey, can you read our cards? And that's always like, hey, are you guys going to be okay? Are you going to take your fight out to the parking lot? Like, everyone calm down.
yeah.
Or do I have to go grab the hose?
But, sometimes, you know, every relationship has its stuff. Sometimes people are hiding things from each other. Sometimes, something happens and somebody hides something, and then they kind of forget about it, or they evolve past it and they forget, like, oh gee, that actually would have hurt somebody's feelings. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's on their individual journey, and the complicated part about being part of a couple is that, the closer you are to that person is your therapist. Whether they're a licensed therapist or not, they're the first person who sees when something's on your mind. They're the first person to give you advice. They're the first person to, lift you up or cut you down or whatever it is. And there's such a personal involvement that sometimes it does take a third party, and it doesn't have to be a tarot reader or a therapist. It can be the bartender, it can be the coffee person, it can be a friend that just kind of steps in and says, hey, here's what I'm seeing,
Yeah.
and that kind of helps things move forward or not.
Right. So, well, Lynn, I again, I've appreciated this, and I'm looking forward to continuing this next month. We will be back here the third Wednesday of next month. I don't know why I continuously say Thursday.
Because my show's on Thursday.
Yeah, I guess so.
Alliteration.
But so, and we would like to put an invitation to all of our friends at Things Network. If you guys want to come on, join us for this show, we'd love to get you guys involved. Look, Lynn's been pretty popular over there the couple times she's been there, so I know our friend Jan just loves you to death, so she really enjoyed sitting with us for a couple segments on the 22nd. So
And there's not many people she likes.
yeah.
I really enjoyed the 22nd as well. I'm really happy to be part of that. That was such a beautiful event.
Yeah. So, well, we look forward to seeing you again next month. Thank you so very much, and thank you for all the questions. Please make sure that you join us again next month, and we can do this again. So, but thank you, Lynn. You have yourself a good evening.
Have a wonderful evening. Thank you again. See everyone next month. Have a wonderful month and a wonderful spring. See you soon.
All right. Goodbye. And once again, I want to thank everybody for joining us. Yeah, thank you. I want to thank everyone for joining us. And please remember that the QR code up in the corner is how you can help us bring the Come Together Compass to life. Look, I was talking to a therapist the other day who was excited about what we're trying to do with the compass, the direction that we were going in. The kids at Arizona State, they talked to another group of people who were telling them that we should concentrate on the status quo. And that upset me because the status quo was not working. And so the kids looked at me and they told me this with the fear that I would say, okay, well, that's what we'll do. Well, that's not what we're doing. We're going to continue to build, and we're going to build something that is going to change lives and it's going to help people. But we need your help to do it. So please scan the QR code, donate $5, donate $50, donate $10, whatever you can. And somebody is going to walk away with some gifts. We've got different books and a couple pillows and this fleece-lined, beautifully stitched. It's almost like an Afghan with fleece lining. Again, one of the softest blankets I've ever felt, but I only felt it a little bit because I didn't want to take it out and ruin it. You know, a lot of dogs and dog hair and didn't want to do that. So, but, and then one last thing, and I know I've been harping on this a lot lately, but I feel very, very strong about this. Again, call it a war, don't call it a war, call it whatever you want. But we've had kids who have died. We have had kids who have been injured. There are people getting hurt all over because of actions being taken. These men and women are away from their families right now. We need to support them, and we need to support their families. To do this, Community Pay It Forward has come up with a new shirt. We're working with a program that when you buy the shirt, they give us a portion of the money. They send the shirt directly to you. You can get those shirts on our website by going directly to the website, which is communitypayitforward.us, and visiting /shopped direct. Okay. And you're going to see them right up top. They're just right up top. They're the Red Friday shirts. Brand new ones, just designed them myself. Once again, they say they do state right out loud, this isn't for political parties. This isn't for support of the war. This isn't for support of any religion. This is about honor, respect, and love for these 1% who have raised their hands and given an oath that could mean the end of their lives. And we need to support them. So please, please join us in celebrating and honoring our soldiers by wearing red this and every Friday. Every Friday, people across the country put on red for one reason: to honor the women and men who left the comfort of home so we can live freely. These shirts are not about politics. They are not about a war. They are not about religion. They are about gratitude. They are about respect. They are about remembering everyone deployed. When you purchase one, you help us launch the Come Together Compass, a program built to guide families and heroes to the support that they need. Wear your pride. Wear your gratitude. Support Red Friday. Remember everyone deployed. There are a couple different shades of red that you can get, that you can order through them. And we've also got hoodies on there. So I am looking at creating some hats because, well, one of us likes hats a lot. I really like hats. So please check it out. Go to Shop Direct, or you can go all the way to the footer of our website, communitypayitforward.us, and you can find us there. For Lynn, for our guests, Aviva and Terry, thank you both very much for joining us. And for all of you who joined us and didn't send any message, come on, join the fun next month. It's going to be the third Wednesday of April. So come on in, join us, ask a question. It's fun, okay? We're just having fun. We're not, this isn't. We're not allowing people to come in and conjure up demons or anything like that. We're having fun. We're amazing people because of some of the stuff she's saying. So come on in, have fun with us, and get your cards read next month, third Wednesday. So for my wife, Adrian, my name is Zach Clayton. I am the founder of Community Pay It Forward, I almost did it, the Come Together Compass, and the IMpACT podcasting networks. I'd like to remind everyone to please love somebody out there, because somebody out here loves you. Remember, if you're not helping someone, you're hurting everyone. No one ever needs to go it alone when we all come together. We will see you next week. Okay, and now it is next week. Look at that. All we do is take and change screens, and it's automatically next week. So the next time that Lynn's going to appear, she's going to be live, and it's going to be about this time. So on April 15th, is Lynn's next show. So it's April 15th. We're really looking forward to it. Look, it's a lot of fun. It truly is. And yeah, what's really amazing is, this is something that, again, I am not a believer in a lot of stuff. I'm more of a scientific guy, but I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you there's nothing to it because I don't have the proof. I am going to tell you, seems more and more to me every day like there might be something there. Next up, we have the first episode of the Aviva show, featuring one of our brand new giving partners. And we could not be any more excited to introduce you to Aviva, and then we're going to go directly into her show.
I started my business. I've been a social worker and helping people for decades. So at this particular time, in the last 10 years or so, I've specialized in energy psychology and relationship therapy practices that help people on a more intimate one-on-one level. Previously, I did a lot of work in medical settings with medical home care, hospital care, end-of-life palliative care, dealing with chronic and new illnesses and having people cope more with a new identity that they have through not feeling the way they used to feel or having something new in their lives that they never previously had to deal with, and their caregivers and how they're affected by the individual having a change and an adjustment in their lives. It's a whole system that gets involved. So my whole trajectory of my career is about helping people, but in the last decade I've specialized more in the one-on-one intimacy I can have with the sessions I have with people and the teaching experience that is just a wonderful part of what I do that I enjoy very much and people are very receptive to. My business is a combination in my title of energy psychology and relationship therapy. That's the overall umbrella title of what I do currently in my practice. But I am a social worker, a licensed social worker. I am in the state of New York, although I can do workshops and educational pieces through the internet and in person across different boundaries because they are teaching experiences. But in all these experiences, I teach the same skills of relationship connection and also self-care and reduction of stress through the different modalities I use, such as tapping, emotional freedom techniques. Imago relationship therapy is about partners and relationship being able to feel more connected. And there's a model of that called Safe Conversations, where I teach people in other settings and other situations how to have connecting conversations with each other where they can completely hear each other, understand each other well, have empathy and vulnerability in their connection, which really does help people understand each other better. So at this point in time, the overarching title is Energy Psychology and Relationship Therapy, but I also have a strong background in medical social work, dealing with chronic care, pain management, end-of-life care, caregiver stress. I also deal a lot with the special needs populations, children growing up with special needs and their caregivers and systems that are involved in that. So there's a lot of areas that I can assist with, and I look forward to working with everybody through the Community Pay It Forward program. My work is headed more toward education, not only education, but the way that people most benefit from what I do and help them with is through learning. And the learning experience is very often in person. I do that here in New York State. However, I can also do online workshops. I'm networking very much in the last half a year to have organizations understand that wellness programs and human resource departments can access the tools that I teach for self-care and stress reduction. So where my work is headed is in more education, the public arena more, to be more available to people, more people who need the help, to be more aware of it. And I continue to have my private practice as a way that people can have their own separate sessions with me. But I really enjoy the working in the public arena and with teaching people online as well, because what happens is each person spreads it to someone else, whether it's through telling someone else the skill set that I'm teaching them or through the improved relationships they have, the improved self-concept, the more relaxed nervous systems that they experience from my work. assisting them with the tools that they need for that. So that's where it's headed, is to be growing more and exposed to more people. Structure today, by virtue of the fact that I want to expose the tools I teach to more people, does pay it forward, where the skills I teach and the reassurance I give and the hopefulness that's offered through the work I do, it does expand beyond each person that I teach and I help. In relationship therapy, imago therapy that I practice and I'm certified in, one of the themes is that we each improved relationship we have helps that person we've improved our relationship with spread more health to the next relationship and the next relationship. And the same thing happens with the energy psychology tools. Once someone feels more capable of self-care, self-regulation, they are also able to interact with other people and teach them or tell them about how something like my energy psychology practices can help them, and there's hopefulness involved, and hope is a very special quality that there's not enough of right now in the world, especially with people that look for assistance and can't find it. They really are looking for something that's hopeful and optimistic. And although you do deal with things that are painful and difficult in any kind of work that is self-examining, you are also helping yourself get through that pain and difficulty to a place where you're better able to handle it. If it continues to be difficult, you feel less alone, you have skill sets that you didn't realize you have, and your concept about yourself also improves. And it just around you, your circumstances, your environment, people in your life all benefit from all of that.
Hey, everybody, we are very, very excited for this. We are going to be introducing some new shows this year. Extremely excited about that. And one of these new shows is with our good friend and our brand new partner in the Giving Partner program, which means anytime that you go and talk to Aviva and you meet with Aviva and you do one of the tapping sessions or the Imago sessions, anything like that. If you send us a copy of the bill of sale, she's going to donate to somebody in need that's asked us for help. So it's a way that you can not only just take care of yourself, but you can take care of others. And this is the best way we found it to do good, is if we can just take everyday business and turn that into a way where we can help others. What's the harm in that? No extra money. But I am thrilled to introduce everyone to our brand new host, Aviva Guttman. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Zach. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
You know what? You and I have been talking about this for a little bit, and then we, of course, the week that we want to record, we've got people cooking weird foods and doctors giving weird new information and everything. So it really was kind of a weird week to get this done, but I am very, very glad that we're getting started. Aviva, before we get started, I would like you to take a couple minutes and please explain to people exactly what you are, how this started in your life, and just explain all of the things that you're able to offer to people.
Okay. I am a licensed and trained social worker, master's of social work. In my state of New York, I hold a licensed social work credential, and I also have some certifications that are helpful for certain modalities. I'm certified in Imago relationship therapy, which is a modality of helping people in relationship, not just couples, but anybody in close relationship, trying to have a more connected experience to understand each other more fully. And it's all designed on really partners being present for each other. It not only applies to intimate relationships, family relationships, work relationships, but it has an expanded version called Safe Conversations that I'm also trained in, that you can use in work settings, human resource settings, community organizations. So I am certified in that. And I'm also certified in what we're going to discuss on the podcast, emotional freedom techniques, which is also known as tapping in pop culture language. And that is a modality that helps with de-escalating stress in the nervous system and also our immediate response to stress and danger and to traumatic memories. And it's a self-care option that's available to people that can either be independent of doing other methods of taking medication, or it can be in conjunction with, if you're on a regime that helps you with your medical or pain or other condition. You can also use tapping as a way to downregulate when you're feeling stressed and tense and escalated. So those are my modalities currently. I'm also a practitioner of logosynthesis. That's another modality in energy psychology that helps unfreeze blocked energy. And that's a very broad term or expression of what that is about. But like EFT, we're working with the life energy system. And most of the things that upset us in our experiences are things we've kept. And technically, we've kept it frozen in our system, which is not just in our mind as a thought. It's about how we've taken it into our body, our energetic system, how we handle something that seems similar when it comes up again. So logosynthesis is through the use of words to request that energy we've taken that doesn't belong to us, we no longer keep, or energy we've given away, we take it back. And it's very much about balance and unfreezing frozen blocks and obstacles. So those are the current modalities I work with, plus, of course, engagement and talking with people, teaching classes. And through my history of social work, I've worked in medical home care, medical hospital care, hospice, palliative care, end-of-life care. I also do a lot of work with special needs caregivers. I myself am a parent of one special needs adult, among other children that I have. So I do a lot of using my life to enhance my work and using my work to enhance my life and to also help systems develop programs related to support for caregivers and things like that. So in a nutshell, which is almost impossible to fit it all in, that's sort of what I do in a nutshell, which is impossible again, but it's touching upon the areas I can help people with. So thank you for asking that. And I think I can help in your community because so many people have at least something related to what I just said involved in their experience.
Well, I would say that nobody's ever going to define you in one box. I mean, there's definitely enough information and different practices there that nobody's ever going to put you in a box. So, you mentioned, and we will get back to everything in a minute, but just a second ago, you did mention the tapping. And this is the way I'd like to approach this question, that if we take ourselves back to like the 1800s, back in the Old West, and if you were good to go and try to discuss with an old-fashioned cowboy about tapping, he would look at you like you were a witch. Is there what do you say to people who think that this is voodoo or hokum or something like that? What do you tell them about tapping and why does it work?
Well, it also depends on their frame of reference. Somebody in that situation, I'm not sure he or she would have been familiar with Chinese medicine, Eastern medicine philosophies, which have been in practice for thousands of years, not just in the 1800s. And the whole basis for those theories and practices have to do with, again, energy, life energy. And to explain it to someone totally unfamiliar, it is like speaking a different language. And it would mostly have to be sort of discernment of what is the person looking for and how can I help them? And then explaining there is this method. It's very simple to learn and it's very effective to use. And it's a lot of self-administered tapping on pressure points on your body, gentle, non-medicinal. And if they said that sounds weird and hokey, people say that in this day too, when I teach a class on it, because they're not familiar with it at all, some of the people that arrive to learn about it. And there's some parts to it when you have an extended version of it that involve even things like counting and humming and counting. And that's because the different parts of the brain are being utilized for the purpose of balance in the humming, the counting. There's different parts of the brain trying to sort of go between the sides of the left brain, the right brain. And those exercises in a sequence do help those parts all start to connect and calibrate together. But to explain it to this cowboy, first of all, if he's open to listening, that's wonderful. And if he's needing more information, but there's no internet yet, there are now currently hundreds of research studies about the scientific correlation and research-based information available on websites that I can direct people to learn more about it. So I'm not sure about the 1800s. A cowboy, he may not ask, and he may not know how to access what I'm trying to give him as a resource. Do you know any more? Do you
Well,
know any more
you
about this
know,
cowboy?
it actually, what I was, what I was kind of thinking of is there are people out there who like to have that old time mentality, and it's they have this thought, well, I don't understand how doing this gentle tapping is going to make me feel better. But if they would really look at it, and one of the truths that we have come to find out, Aviva, and you can probably attest to this, is our brain is an amazing piece of machinery that your brain can do so much healing if
Mhm.
you let it. And there's no other way to continue. If you allow your brain to do what it can do amazing things to help you heal.
Mhm.
And so something as generalized as tapping and doing that, it can do amazing things, but you have to be open for it, and you have to be in the moment, right? Would that be a
Well,
good statement there?
when you're practicing tapping rounds and you are doing it in the moment, you are accessing how you're experiencing the energy field that you experience related to a traumatic memory, limiting belief, fear in the future. You are actually, with the help of the guide or clinician like myself, staying in the moment and being walked through the steps about in the moment what you're experiencing, even though it's about possibly something in the past or a fear about the future or a limiting belief about your capacity to do something. You do work in the moment with EFT because that's the nature of how it helps. You're in the moment of your energy experience in remembering something. There's a saying in energy psychology, or a question they ask, that's sort of a little bit of a way to introduce people to it. You'll say, especially at workshops we have, at conferences, does the past affect the present? So what do you think, Zach? Do you think the past affects the present?
Oh yeah. Um I think the past, I think everything around us. I think everything we've ever experienced. I think everything that we're going to experience affects the present. I really think that, you can, that's why I find it hard to, when somebody says something like, leave home at home and leave work at work. I find
Mm-hmm.
that really hard to be, I find that hard. I struggle to understand that because, you're the same person. It's not like you're switching, it's not like you
Mm-hmm.
can switch one part of you off at some point in time. So yeah, if you've experienced something in a day, and an hour later, if it's still on your mind, yeah, it's going to affect you.
So the answer in energy psychology circles has to do with the past is not here. So what is
Hmm.
taking place is our current internalization or integration of a past memory or experience or experiences. What we've done is we've taken it all in. The brain takes absolutely everything in. Our entire lifespan is constantly recording everything in the moment all the time and in the past. But we aren't in the past. In the present, which is why EFT is in the present type of modality, is that we are accessing how we've integrated the information in our system, in our minds, in our thoughts that are connected to thoughts about an experience. We're like a computer. We're human computers, although we were here first, and we've integrated the information into certain files of memory. And so when we work on tapping or other energy modalities, we're accessing how we've taken in the past. So it is true, we've had a past and a lot of experiences inform us, but in the world of energy work, energy psychology in particular, it's about the present is how we've taken it in and how we're dealing with what we've done with it in terms of a memory, aspects of the memory, things that it evokes in us in the present. So that's the sort of trick question when they ask us that, is that we've
Hmm.
all had past and we all hopefully will have future, but what we've taken in is in this moment. And that's why a lot of exploration goes on in EFT. What are you experiencing in your body on a scale of 0 to 10? How activated are you? What are your thoughts about this memory? What are your the sounds you hear, the visions you might envision in your mind? So you're doing a lot of exploration about how now they perceive the event or the circumstance they want to work on.
Okay, yeah, I completely understand what you're saying there. I've been through other trainings where they do work on that, and that is a really, really good point. Um, but you have to be you have to be able to let things, is it let things go, or is it put things into perspective?
In terms of what you work on in
Yeah,
energy work.
in terms of what we were just talking about. I had something that happened to me in the past. Do I need to let that go, or do I need to put it into perspective?
If it's a major trauma, since what you do is you've taken it in. But usually when you have something that's an event that's traumatic, whether it's we call it big T or little t traumas. Big T traumas are major events that are very significant and very impacting extremely in the moment. That can be that it's an individual big T trauma, or it can be a more global one, such as 9/11 or wars or explosions in the battlefield. But your own big T trauma can be, if you don't mind me suggesting, about the accident you had. So
Yeah. Yeah.
basically, at the moment that we have an experience like that, more often than not, we don't have the resources in that moment because it's so overwhelming to handle everything about it in that moment. So what happens is our very intelligent systems take it in, keep it somewhere and file it away as it's horrible, it's terrible, I'm frightened, I'm overwhelmed, but I can't handle it in this moment. So I'm putting it somewhere. And that's in your system. It's a very esoteric concept in your system, but it's the mind, body, spirit system of what all of us have. We keep the information. So over time, you can process how severe that trauma was by experiences like EFT, where you explore it gently, but you ask about parts of it. You break it down. So as you break it down into sequences of small parts of the memory or the experience, you're able to deal with each small increment. And as you deal with each one, you're helping to, well, usually the concept is of a larger, the iceberg above the water. As you take away the bottom parts that are supporting the iceberg, it'll go lower, lower, lower. It's just this idea of breaking it down into smaller pieces, dealing with each small piece. And so what happens is you don't have to forget it. You have taken it and reconfigured it into what it means for you. It doesn't have to be as activating, as upsetting, as frightening, or causing aversion to other things, meaning an aversion to maybe driving or an aversion to something else, moving a certain way because it hurts. You learn to, your system's also learning, I've already dealt with that portion of it, that portion of it, that portion of it. So you don't have to forget it and go forward without dealing with it, because you can't really do that. People try to do that, but that's where it ends up with something that's trying to numb the experience, whether it's chemically based or distraction based. So then they're not really ever taking the essence of it, and it keeps showing up. Usually props its head up again in different circumstances. Hey, I'm still here. You haven't dealt with it. And people live their whole lives like that. They don't deal with something really huge, but the better they deal with it for themselves, they can function in a more free way. Plus, the people around them start to feel the difference. And they feel things in our field too. People that are close to us, people that work with us, they sense something, and then they act in like planets. They walk, they go around like, I'm going to avoid that, or I'm going to avoid saying that, or doing that around this person because I know it gets them upset. So other people are affected by us not going through the sorting and examining. And you have to go through it to get to the other side. You can't go over it, around it. We all try, but it still stays until we process it. So I don't know if I really answered your question, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
tried.
yeah. And what I was really trying to get out there is it's not a good idea for people to come into this to think that you need to forget about what you've been through, because just forgetting about it is, and I like the way that you made the statement that that's the wrong thing to do because you haven't dealt with it,
Well,
and
not so
if you,
about the wrong. It's like a way that's going to stay longer. It'll stay longer
right.
if you don't try to process it. And you need to go through it to process it, like any hard thing, because then it stays with you as a huge, huge, usually painful or debilitating block. And then you can feel so much better. People don't like the part where you have to go through it, but that's important, because if you never go through it, you can't feel better. And if you go through it, you will feel better, but you need to go through it to feel better. But EFT is so gentle that it doesn't escalate a person into the active state they were in when the trauma occurred. That's one reason it's such a beneficial therapy, is its gentleness. And that's one way that it was actually chosen and designed by the person who founded it, Gary Craig. He was an engineer. Gary Craig was an engineer and noticed there was another therapy out there, thought field therapy, that was similar to tapping, but much more complex, meaning that there were versions of what to do in every certain emotion. There'd be a whole other set of tapping locations and rounds based on a certain emotion. And what would happen is it was so complex, most people were either overwhelmed by it, clinicians as well. But then he noticed if there were just certain basic points, which I can describe today too, that most of the time you felt movement in your energy, but you didn't feel re-traumatized for the original reason that you're doing the tapping.
You mentioned earlier, and since we're getting to the origins of this, which is really kind of funny that you went there, because that's exactly my next question. But what you mentioned earlier, there is a little bit of the from out east. There's
Eastern medicine?
right, Eastern medicine or Eastern philosophy in this.
Mhm.
Can you explain what they took from out east and how he mixed this into tapping itself?
Well, Chinese medicine is what it used to always be called, but now more often than not it's referred to as Eastern, the Eastern hemisphere of our planet. And they have always used methods for thousands of years that have to do with energy centers, blocked energy. Acupuncture is the closest thing I can explain that we usually offer people. Have you ever had acupuncture? And some will say yes, some will say no, or they'll know what it is. I said, well, acupuncturists use needles in certain areas of the body called meridian points, and that's how they help shift the energy that might be blocked about a certain situation in your energy field, your emotions, your physical pain. They try to calibrate through those needles how to assist in that. So tapping does it through tapping, not needles, and it's all self-administered. And the meridian points that have been specified with a basic recipe and also an extended recipe of what to tap on are always touching every meridian in the body through the parts they're touching. So even though an acupuncturist does very refined points, through the meridian points that we do in the general recipe or the basic recipe and extended recipe, we're usually reaching most points in the body. And so that was how it translated into Western culture more, but Roger Callahan, who did the thought field therapy, he had a very complex system, which is fine. Some people really like the specificity of a certain tapping sequence, works for a certain emotional state. But when Gary Craig realized, because he had an engineer's mind, and he recently passed a few months ago, but he was the founder of EFT, he just realized, oh, the same changes are possible, but with a streamlined approach of where to tap. So that's how it sort of funneled into what we do now in emotional freedom techniques.
Okay. And can you go on ahead and maybe share with us some examples of some tapping?
Sure. Well, first, I know you're going to, I put there a chart of the basic recipe of tapping. The reason it's called basic, it's because it's from the waist up points. There are certain extended points that I can also show on a future, episode that involve, if you're more escalated and more in need of more extensive movement of the energy, there are some other points that involve the humming, counting, humming, etc., and finger touching points and eye movements. So what I will do now is just say the basic points. So they're very simple, and we use our fingertips. So the first point, I'm not sure if the chart specifies top of head, but there's a top of head point. Meridian points are what we're touching, and meridian points are the energy center points on the surface of our skin that help release through our systems the blocked energy. So we'll start with the top of the head. We use 3 fingers so that we make sure we touch the meridian on our bodies. And so people often ask, how long should they tap on average when they're beginning? I'd say 5 to 7 times. It's self-intuitive when you start to know the process that you want to stay on a certain point as long as you want. The next area is the inner brow, where the brows meet the nose. but on the very end of that.
And do we focus in that area, Aviva? Do we focus on like the eyeball itself or up on the bone inside the
Well,
eyebrow?
the eyebrow one is just the end of the eyebrow.
Okay.
The side of eye is next. The side of eye is a tricky point because some people think it's the temple, especially when they do it virtually, but
Right.
it's the side of eye where one finger is sort of in the soft area of the corner of the eye, not poking your eye, but touching it a little bit. And then the other finger is on the bone that's the corner of the eye. So it's a gentle side of eye, corner of eye point. The next one is under the nose, which is easy to find because we have that crevice under our nose. So under the nose. And then this point is under the bottom lip, but it's called the chin point, even though the chin's here, it's called the chin point. And then there's 2 points that are the chest points. Excuse me, you find them by finding this round area of the bones ending. About 1 inch diagonally down is a soft indentation area. That's called the chest points. Because they're 2, you do both sides if you can. Eventually, people can tap with one side only while they're doing something else with their other hand, like taking notes for themselves. But for now, it's good to learn. And the last point on the upper body is called side of ribs. And on a female, it's usually the bottom line of the bra line. On a man, you put your hand under your underarm. It's where your pinky would land. So it's the side of rib.
Okay. And so on that one there, of course, it's like I'm a bigger guy, so it's really hard to do both
Some
of those at
people,
once.
they do either both sides or they put one arm across
Yeah.
and just do one side. Right.
Yeah. With my neck problems, it's easier to do the one across.
And with
neck problems in the size of my chest.
the neck problems also when there's an extended part of the recipe where there's some eye movements, it might be hard. And so there are alternatives for almost every tapping point. Now, some people don't like the sensation of physical tapping, so they can just push a little bit on the points when they're making their rounds. And along with touching the tapping rounds, there's usually reminder phrases of what their experience is, which I coach people through depending on what they're working on. So let's say they're working with some kind of physical discomfort. So reminder phrases mean, that heat that's radiating through my arm, or that tingling that's in my wrist, that soreness that's in my back. So what happens is you're saying things as we're tapping so that it helps you be in the energy field of the experience. And that's one reason that it's approaching the energy from different angles. The physical release through the meridian tapping, the awareness of symptoms or aspects of what you're going through, so that you're totally in dual awareness, and that helps reconfigure what you're trying to work on. So those are the basic recipe points.
Yeah. Are you saying these words? Are you saying these words kind of keep track of what you're doing, keep your mind focused on what you're doing, and less of like a chant or a what's the word I'm looking for?
Mantra?
Mantra. Yeah. Is it more of just making
It's
sure
awareness.
you're doing what you're doing?
It's about awareness. See, before you do all the tapping rounds, there's something called the setup statement, which is also on that chart, the side of hand. On that chart, it might say karate chop point, but it's side of hand. And that's said before all the tapping takes place. And that point really helps with the discernment of what you're going to work on, whether you're saying it verbally or your system is just knowing that it's in a certain state. It can help just focus the mind and the body on, we're working on this. And when I say you don't have to say anything, very often if we're highly anxious right in the moment, we may not even want to talk out loud. We just may want to tap. So the first time I ever realized how helpful this was at a traffic light that was not changing at all, and people were behaving badly about the lights not changing in all 4 parts of the intersection. So I just took a moment to just did some tapping about my escalated tension so that I could be a safer driver in that circumstance. But I didn't have to say out loud, even though people are behaving badly and the light's not changing and I have impatience about getting where I'm going. My system knew that, and your system knows everything. It's a very vast intelligence of what's going on. But the reason phrases help when you do this clinically is you're really breaking down parts of something in the memories, the parts of memories. But in the moment, like I think we're trying to help your community understand is accessible to them at any time. You don't have to speak about what you're going through. If you feel dysregulated, which means you feel off center in any way, it can mean that you're feeling frightened, anxious, tearful, grief-stricken, scared. Even though frightened and scared sound similar, they have nuances to them to people about what the differences are. Then you just know, your body knows how to help you start to calm down. And the reason that's so important is when your nervous system is not in fight, flight, or freeze mode, you have more access to ways that you can go more slowly, how you can problem solve, how you can look at it a different way. The system is very intelligent. You want to help it not be in that alert state, because the alert state blinds us, because what it's trying to do is preserve us from danger. So of course it shuts down our thinking brain, and it shuts down the sense of calm because adrenaline is pumping. But once we start to let our body know you're safe and I need to calm down to function, then all the other parts start to show up.
Okay, these are very, very gentle taps. These are not, you're not trying to put an abundance of pressure anywhere, but there is a possibility of something going wrong. And what happens, what should people be looking for if something's not feeling right? What are some of the things that one should do, and what are some of the things that they need to look out for?
Meaning when they're tapping?
Yes, yeah.
Well, some people don't like the sensation of tapping. They find it too stimulating for their skin, for their nervous system as well. So you just encourage, there are options. There's options of just touching the points gently. And there's also options of imagining touching the points. And this is recommended at times by people that either don't want to do the tapping in a visible way, or they just aren't feeling like they just want to do all the touching and tapping. So I have my own personal example of needing a blood pressure reading to be a little lower, wanting it to be, because my doctor was very critical, which of course made it even up.
Yeah.
I said, can you just give me a minute or two? Luckily, he allowed for that and talked about something else. And then I did an internal visualization of tapping. And in that visualization of tapping, I also intended, I want to bring my pressure down. My pressure's not as high as he's saying. I hope my reading goes down. And so 10 minutes later, when he took it again, it had gone down significantly. And he said, well, what did you just do? And I tried to explain, and this also answers your question about how to explain to people that don't understand. And he was a modern doctor, but he was trained in Western medicine, allopathic care, where everything is usually treated, usually, not always. They're becoming more open to other complementary ways of helping yourself. But medicine, or losing the weight, or, and more exercise, but not self-regulation. So I tried to explain it. He really didn't understand what I meant, but he said, if it worked for you, that's wonderful. So, and that was a small bit of opening up to it, but not significant. Although that's over 10 years ago, I know there's more discussion in programs about complementary care, like massages and exercise and yoga and EFT and other modalities that are sort of not technically giving a pill, but they also take into account reducing your stress, going slower, Tai Chi and all those. Go slower, go slower. Slower is the big operative word here about most stress.
And yeah, that really comes back to the conversation we've been having for the last couple of weeks on many of my shows, that everything right now is go 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 go, and that's just not good for you at all. You've got to slow down, and you've got to take action when it comes to your own health, and so anything slower is going to take, and you're going to be able to breathe through stuff. Breathing is so important in this, correct?
It ends up being that your breathing becomes much more relaxed, much more easeful and fuller breaths. There is a whole exercise in EFT about constricted breathing to help people reverse that feeling. But in general, it's important to keep in mind with energy work, because energy is finite, but it changes forms. That's the way energy is understood. So if you keep push, excuse me, you're taking away the reserves. There are no reserves left. So if you're always going fast and pushing, you're going to end up crashing because there's nothing left. You're a battery. You have to recharge the battery by sleep, by nutrition, but also by stepping away from very dysregulating, upsetting experiences and things, especially if you have a choice, which brings us into the whole idea about social media and news, going on restricted plans sometimes just to not take all of it in at once. Because there's a message out there, take it all in, keep it on 24/7, keep looking at it. And that's how it's designed. And that in itself can just keep you escalated. And then you can crash from exhaustion and depletion.
Yeah. What are some things that, where this is all brand new to a lot of people? What are some things that people can start doing from now until our next episode, which is going to come up in a month? What are some things that people can do to really start to learn a little bit more about these techniques? And also learn a little bit more. And I think one of the reasons why I like this technique so much is it really teaches you about yourself. It really teaches you about and how you're going to react to this.
Well, first, I know you'll have the chart available. People can look through just the tapping points and just try to do them themselves, just at any moment. I haven't taught yet how to talk about presenting circumstance and how to address that with reminder phrases, which will be the next portion that we record. So what I suggest first is just getting familiar with the tapping points. There's also a way to learn a little bit more about it by some links I can offer that you might be able to put into the information about the episode, where you can learn a little bit more about it. But the most important thing is don't try to get the whole picture at once. Like anything else, take small steps, take small dosages of learning something so new. And they can also reach out to me and I will teach them about specific issues they want to work on, how to get addressing that through EFT that is sequential and step by step and clinically based, but through the idea of palliative, which is in the moment care for stress. Just practice it. If you're just feeling a little bit off center one day, just tap any number of times and it just is repeated. It's a sequence. You repeat it over and over until you check in with yourself after a few rounds, see how you're feeling, notice what you're feeling. And you might notice one of the first things people do say, my shoulders are more relaxed, my breathing is more relaxed. I'm feeling a little bit drowsy sometimes, but that means you've let down that nervous system bracing. Yes, that's part of energy movement, is you're going to not be as tense.
Yeah. You did mention reach out to you, Aviva. How do people get a hold of you?
They can reach me through my website, which is my name, www.avivachanskiguttman, no spaces.com. And the very helpful Z has made that beautiful website that everybody can access. There's also a place where they can sign up for any future emails I send out through my email blasts that have to do with upcoming workshops and things like that. And also they can reach me through LinkedIn and they can reach me through my Facebook business page. And that's the best way to get started.
And of course, you can also you can find all this information if you visit her landing page on Community Pay It Forward. If you would like an introduction to Aviva, I encourage you to please get a hold of me and I will make that introduction happen. Aviva, before we end this first recording, and I know we went a little bit longer than we were planning on it, but that is quite okay. You heard something last week on our show with Lynn on Lynn's Day when we were discussing relationships, and you being a licensed imago therapist, imago therapist, you wanted to say something about that. Can you?
Yeah, sure. I wanted to clarify because I know it was totally in humor and banter discussion about what a traditional couples therapy session would be like. And there was some inference about, which happens a lot in couples therapy, is that they try to get the therapist to take a side or make a decision about who's bad, who's right, who's wrong. Isn't he horrible? Isn't she terrible? In imago relationship therapy, we don't have any such thing because it's structured in a very safe, dialogical way. We have an exercise at every session called the imago dialogue. And the whole intention is that you keep people in a structure of safety where they actually have certain rules we've asked of them. And that's the reason they're there, is to get the situation to be improved between them, where they are not allowed to shame, blame, or complain. They're not allowed to have negativity during the dialogue. The dialogue is an exercise in connection of active listening, empathy, and validation. And it's very helpful to have those components because that's not what usually takes place in most conversations between most people, but also people aren't intentional in how they speak with each other. But after imago therapy, and when people have mastered the aspects of the therapy itself, it does get carried over into their regular life as well, to be more actively listening, to offer more validation that makes sense. And the reason it makes sense that you said that is, and not to judge and to have empathy for the person's experience. And the reason I wanted to just discuss it briefly is because the preconceived notion about couples therapy is this very negative experience that people have seen in the movies and on television or experienced themselves, where 9 times out of 10, if somebody's come to see me after the regular traditional couples therapy, which can be very unstructured. So somebody not comfortable with working with couples may do it and not be comfortable in the position, but they can get triangulated into that experience of couples saying, hey, what about what I say? Don't you think he's wrong? That's very easy in human nature to happen when you have three. And what happens in imago, the intention is already from the beginning. That won't be taking place. The clinician is the orchestrator of the dialogue, keeps people in structure and safety. When they're that safe together, a lot can happen because they feel safe enough to say their deepest, most vulnerable experiences and feelings, and the other person's agreeing to listen to that without judgment. That in itself is a huge healing aspect, and that's why I'm a imago therapist. I wanted to be one because that was what I had not seen in most of my close relationships up until becoming one. And when I became one, I started to gravitate more toward what do I want in relationships? What do I need in relationships? And that's one reason I love doing it, is because that's what couples end up deciphering through the process. What do they want? How can they find it? Why are they in the one that, or why are they accepting something that's not helping them feel valued? But they work it through if they're committed, and some don't, but they're really there to enhance how they understand each other. So that's just a little response to the misconception that all couples therapy could be bad.
Well, and this is something I meant to end this recording after that question, but this one just popped up, and I think this is also something that's really important. Aviva, can people who have a good relationship, can they go in for family, for counseling? And do we have to wait until there's a problem to go see a counselor? And what are the benefits of saying, you know what, we've got a great relationship. There's no such thing as a perfect relationship, but we've got a great relationship. Maybe we should go and make sure we're being proactive on working through anything that we may come up with.
Well, what happens is sometimes the angle at which people arrive to the therapy sometimes is based on a generational perspective. I find generally younger clients have been more aware almost all their lives as adults, which isn't that long yet, but they've been aware of working something through, talking more openly, wanting to do preventive care for their relationships. So I've had people come before they're married. I've had people come when they're just married. I've had people come because there's a baby now and they didn't understand their relationship would change and dynamic, but they're just a little disoriented by that and they want to help keep it healthy for all of them. Then I've had people that go to the workshops that I assist at. I'm a clinical assistant often at Omega Institute for Harville Hendricks and his wife, Helen LaKelly Hunt, who are the founders of imago therapy. And so I've been through at least 20 of their workshops to watch the process, know it by heart, but also we end up getting people that come from those workshops as referrals because they like what they learned at the workshop and they want to keep going with what they've learned and how it made them feel after being there. So I have that. It's all ranges and all ages and all reasons. And I've also had adult children and their parents about caregiving concerns or end-of-life care concerns or sibling rivalry issues as adults. These people are in close relationships, so they're coming to see how they can feel more connected and understand each other better.
Yeah, oh, I'll tell you. You said it and instantly the first thing that came into my mind is, God, I wish I would have done that. But when my first son was born, if I would have had a little bit of a more of a clue on what I could have done to relax myself and not bring pent up energy and anxiety as a father. I was very young. I was 22 when my son was born, so I was still very young and very, inexperienced in life. And that's such a great idea to come in and talk to somebody prior to a baby coming into life, because yeah, there are drastic changes that happen as soon as that, wonderful changes, but they are drastic changes that if you're just not ready for, they could make a substantial difference in your relationship.
I've had a couple married over 40 years come for sessions because not that they're having actively fighting, but of all the things they didn't openly express, trying to keep peace, that were really pushing through. I'd like you to, like the wife, she wouldn't express something very important to her, thinking it's better not to, it keeps the peace, it makes him happy, but she needed to express this safely. So the safety of being able to say something that's been on her mind a very long time, and the husband's willingness to listen to it and make a little bit of an adjustment in their relationship for her to be happier, made a phenomenal difference. Because like any energy work, as it is energy work as well in the relationship, when one shift happens, other shifts start to happen at the same time because you're moving something. So that's the beauty, is that when you move an obstacle or a pattern that's not necessarily working, then all the healthier things try to come in around that.
Wow. Well, I think that we've got a lot to think about. I would like to ask you, before we press the pause button on this episode, is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you would like to make sure that you get out there for this first conversation?
Just basically the most beneficial thing anybody can do when they're looking to feel better is to be open to that there is more than one way.
Yeah.
And let me try something else. And especially trying something that doesn't involve something major like a chemical reaction to a drug you might get. It's something to try, where the adverse reactions to EFT are only sometimes maybe confusion about, I'm feeling a little elevated or escalated. What do I do with that feeling? But in that case, you're not going to feel traumatized because your system in EFT doesn't let you get to the full traumatic experience. It lets you have aspects of it that you are ready to see. So then having a clinician there also helps with that. So if somebody's feeling a little, because you sometimes will feel a little bit more upset before you feel a little bit better, but that's normal. That's really normal. Like if we have an incision on a wound, it looks great that the doctor took care of it, but he had to stitch it. And the next day there's swelling and pain from the swelling and pain. So it's healing though. It's just getting a little erupted because it's been exposed and it's been worked on, but it has to heal. So that's the analogy of, that I can say it's like that. Similar to that.
And people should not rush to any conclusion after trying this for the first time. This is going to be like anything else. It's going to take a little bit of time to get into a rhythm. It's going to take a little bit of time for it to feel comfortable, right? Because you're going to be doing something that, look, let's be honest, not a lot of us have, done this program before. So it's going to take a little bit of time to, maybe master is a bad way of stating it, but being proficient in this method.
Yes, there's ways to do it as self-care, but I highly recommend having someone guide you in the beginning for how to do it for self-care, a few sessions with myself to help a person learn what to do and how to do it, so that they also become more proficient at the points. Once you've memorized the points, you don't think about where they are. You just start doing them on your tapping rounds. And that in itself takes away that part. So the learning part, the brain's just on automatic pilot for that. The rest is the issue. What is it? How am I experiencing that issue? What am I feeling in my body? What are my thoughts about it? That can get more attention than where do I tap?
This is perfect. One more time, how do they get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me, well, through your community pay it forward page that you're mentioning. All the contact information is on that, and also my website, which Mr. Z designed from the World Wide Webs, and he's excellent, by the way. It's www, and my full name, Aviva Chansky Guttman, with no parts between the names, just all the way through. And so that's the way today.
Yep. Well, I loved it. Our first show is ready to go, so we're excited about that. And you are going to be joining us every month. You're going to be joining us the third Wednesday of every month. at this time, and eventually we want to get to where we are potentially doing this live, so you can come on and ask questions. Until we go live, if you have any questions, send them to us, and I will ask Aviva during the recording, or you can also get a hold of us, and maybe you can join us during the next recording. This is, look, we're open books. This is about how we can help you and you can help others. That's our goal with this. It's the simplicity is the beauty in this, but the simplicity and the effectiveness is the bonus. So Aviva, I greatly appreciate it, and I want to thank you so very much. I hope you liked your first show.
Thank you.
All
I
right.
did. Enjoyed it very much.
We will be back. So I hope you guys all enjoyed getting to know Aviva. Once again, I also want to bring up and thank Lin Sibulski for last week's show, and remind you that on the 15th of next month, we have Aviva's show. So make sure that you're ready to come on and ask your questions and participate in Lynn's Day. And then the following Wednesday is episode 2 of the Aviva show. So thank you, ladies. I appreciate it so very much for everything that you guys did. Hey, look, we've got an announcement that we need to make. I need somebody. All right. I desperately need somebody who understands mobile apps. We have a mobile app, but it's not functioning right now. I need somebody who can dedicate no more than, look, I'm going to put out there 5 hours, because you know what? 5 hours a month, if that's what you can afford to do, glorious. If you can dedicate 10 hours a month, that's fine. 5 to 10 hours a month to help us get the app up and running, and to be able to teach me how to do it. I would much rather you stay on as a volunteer and help us do it, grow with the company, and help us be the reason why I'm able to bring you on. If that's what you can do, oh, thank you. I would love that. I would love that more than you would ever know. I'm not asking anybody who is, to take hours and hours and hours out of your professional life to come on and do this. I'm asking for a very simple 5 to 10 hours a month, to where, maybe the first month, maybe 15 hours in a month. And that's just to see where we're at and what we need to do. I need you to help me get this app back up and running. When this app is running, folks, we're going to be able to do so much more to help so many more people. But I need your help. So please reach out to me today. Say, hey, you know what? I understand apps a little bit. Let me get on here and see what I can do. And you and I can get together, sit down, and find out what can be done. No man's an island. That's just, we've heard that throughout all the way since we were kids. Truth is, Z has done a wonderful job teaching me how to work with my website. Of course, I go a little bit overboard sometimes, and I put too much information on it. But Z is very good about reeling me in and helping me, save face. But I need somebody to help me out. I need somebody to be able to sit there and go, Zach, this is what's going on. This is what we need to do. I need someone to help us maintain, bring on new partners, and show me how to add them to the program and really help me get it back up and running. Again, worst case scenario, you teach me how to do it. Best case scenario, you decide that you want to be part of the Community Pay It Forward family. You stay on as our app person, and when things get rolling, we roll you on into the company. You become part of the company, and this becomes a paying gig for you. Best case scenario. But right now, we just need a volunteer to step in and help stop the bleeding in that aspect. So please contact me today. There my finger is. I'm like way the hell out here. It's in there somewhere. Contact me today because we need your help today. And damn it, I gotta fix this camera. It's bugging me so bad. Folks, that's it for us today. We're going to be playing Jeff's portion on Monday morning. Jeff Pearson is going to be part of our Brain Injury Awareness Month. If you take both Lynn and Aviva's, what they were teaching you today, that is great ways to help support someone who is dealing with a brain injury. So please take their words into consideration. Yeah, Lynn's maybe not near as much, but there's a lot that you can learn from Aviva when it comes to recovery that's going to help you out. You know, look, Lynn's can help take and really teach you how to love yourself again and feel good about yourself again. You know, Lynn said something to me in my reading talking about my past. I talk to my ghosts all the time. And what I mean by that is I talk to my family who has passed on all the time. I talk to both of my grandfathers all the time. I'm living here in one of their homes. I own their home now. He took this from a place that he bought to a place that he loved. And I talk to him every day. And I discuss with him in my own way. How can I keep your happiness in our home? It's a discussion I have with him every day. And my grandmother, I make sure that, you know, everything that we do, she understands this is in her memory, and we're doing this without any offense. My grandfather, Shorty, I've talked to, and I thought of him every day since he passed away. He means so much to me. He means so much to everything that goes on in my life. I'm going to tell you all a little story about something that happened. I try to stay away from the political stuff, okay? And this is why. I don't think that we should be in this war. And I'm going to call it a war because we've got people who are dying, and we've got people who we're sending boots on the ground over there right now. We've got an administration right now who can't pull his head out of his ass long enough to tell you if it's a war, because 2 minutes later he's going to tell you it's not a war. Like it or dislike it, those are the truths. I'm not saying this to try to be controversial. Check the tape. And I don't belong to the side that's going to sit there and go, "Oh no, that's not what he meant. That's not what he meant." It's what he said. It's what he meant. On the other side, I heard a comment on a podcast the other day that made me want to throw my phone out the window, because they said, "I don't believe in this. You have to support the troops." And it made me almost bite through my tongue, because that is such a crock of BS. And to anybody who mistakenly feels this way, as a country, we need a military. We don't like what the military does sometimes. That is absolutely a right to not like what they do sometimes. Us not showing support for the young women and men who join is one of the reasons why the young men and women no longer join, and why we are getting closer to being in a lot of trouble. These young men and women who do join the service have the same compassion that my grandfathers had when they joined during World War II. They had the pride to serve their country, warts and all, that my grandfathers had when they joined in World War II. My grandfathers were called heroes for joining during World War II. And the person who said this, who I respect him, this is the first thing he's ever said, and I called him out on it too. But this is the first thing he's ever said that really I was floored and angry. I was so angry. These women and men who raise their right hands, less than 1% of our population that raises their right hand and gives an oath to the Constitution, not to a president, not to a political party, to the Constitution of the United States, to the citizens of the United States. And to blame them for anything that's going on is absurd and asinine and very irresponsible. Not all little girls and boys go through college or go through a high school and dream of being superstars. There are some that are taught as kids that serving this country is the greatest honor you can have. And you're going to belittle them because there is a war going on that they don't have any control of it. Sure, you might say right at this point, well, why don't they just leave? Have you seen the penalty? Have you seen the penalties? What could happen to them if they walk away? Have you seen what they could potentially lose? And I'm just going to add this in right now. And this isn't something that I've seen, heard. So I'm not making up anything. I'm not trying to be a controversial here. But you know what? Right now, in this element that we're going through, in this world that we're going through right now, if somebody were to give up their position before their terms are over, we don't know what would happen to them in the political party. We don't know if stuff would be made up. We don't know if there would be things that happen to them that would, be out of the norm, because we don't know what people are going to do right now. People are doing insane things in insane times. And if you disagree with that, you are asleep at the wheel. I'll never commit to being a leftist. I'll never commit to being on the right. By God, I'll never commit to being right down the middle, center. I'll never commit to being anything. I will commit to our Constitution gives us rights. If you don't like those rights, guess what? The Constitution gives you the right not to like it. It's amazing. It's beautiful. The Constitution gives you the right to believe in what you want to believe in. But to blame anything that's going on right now on our service people is misguided and ugly. Very ugly. And why I respect 99.9% of what this gentleman says. Damn dogs. I completely and totally want to call him out on this. And like I said, he knows I'm not going to call him out by name on air because you know what? That's not who I am. I did call him out. I did make a comment on his podcast. So I am the one who made that comment. And you know what? If you would like to talk about it, I invite you to have a conversation because I will stick up for our troops. I'll stick up for our troops every day that I walk this earth. Because when they were in World War II, they were heroes. And since Korea, we have treated our veterans, people who leave the service of our country, we've treated them like garbage. And that's the reason why we are in such dire need of support mentally. At one point in time, you could not be a stronger person. You could not be a better person. You could not be a bigger hero when you fought for your country. And now, because political ignorance and political asinine actions, people are treating our heroes, and I'll say it again, our heroes, like villains. And I'm going to state this again and again and again and again. You do not have to support any political party. You do not have to support a war. You do not have to support any religion. But you should support the men and women, the women and men, the boys and girls who signed their life on the line that they could potentially lose that life so they can defend the Constitution. Should they be there? That's up for debate. I feel they should not. And I'm pretty sure that if you would poll them, at least, and I'll say at least half of them will say, this is not where we should be. We shouldn't be involved in this at all. But they are over there because that is their orders. They didn't just pick up their guns and jump in the back of their pickup trucks and run out and run over there to shoot skeet. It's not what this is about. They raised their hands to defend our Constitution, defend our country, defend our homes, defend our ways of life. They were ordered. to go where they are. Do not call them out. It is mistaken. It is ignorant. They are heroes. They were heroes in 1942. No, they were heroes in World War I. They were heroes in the Revolution. Yes, I left out the Civil War because we were fighting each other in the Civil War. Kind of like what's going on now, without the bloodshed on our own soil. But boy, it seems scary that we haven't learned. The women and men, the boys and girls, the girls and boys, the individuals who raise their right hand and give that commitment to the country, to the Constitution. They did not do it to an individual. They did not do it to a political party. They did not do it for a god. They did it in honor of our Constitution and our country. If you've never read it, maybe you should do that before you call them out. Read the oath. Understand the oath. Respect their service. Don't villainize them. Don't make them the villain, because they're not the villains here. They're ordered to do this. And unfortunately, as much as we would like to think that this is, some people would like to think that this is an illegal war. Unfortunately, right now, it has not been deemed as so. So for them to outright quit would be criminal against them. Please understand what you're asking people to do. Because for them to just quit right now is asking them to give up everything that they signed, that they took an oath for. It's asking them to give up every right that they gave that oath to. Please support our heroes. You don't have to support this war. You don't have to support this war. You don't have to support the political machine behind this war. You don't have to support the other side. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying the men and women, the girls and boys, their families, they're not criminals. They're heroes. Support them. Sorry for jumping on my soapbox, but that had to be said because I don't think people understand how important it is to get back to regarding our heroes as heroes. Folks, if we have any more, if we have fewer people who sign up for our services, we could be a country in jeopardy, in more jeopardy than we are now. And where this country is in jeopardy within itself. Imagine the shit show if we lose any more service people and there's no one to protect us if somebody decides to take that over. Just remember, things are bad. I will not sugarcoat it. Things are bad, but it doesn't have to be this way if we come together for each other, if we ourselves come together. I'm sorry, I'm having a spasm in my neck, so please forgive me for not being able to move right now. But if we together come together for each other, it doesn't have to be this bad. Let's take the government out of the equation and help each other. Because you know what? We need each other. If you're not helping someone, you're hurting everyone. Please make sure that every day we come together so no one has to go it alone. If you want to join us, if you want to tell your story, please reach out to me, Zach at communitypayitforward.us, Zach at communitypayitforward.us. Never shut up. Always tell your story. Make sure people understand who you are, what you've done, what you've been through, because you know what? What you've been through may just be the key to their happiness. Make sure you love somebody out there because somebody out here loves you. Thank you very much for joining us. If you would like to volunteer, please reach out because we need your help. We need you now. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week right here on Community Impact. Tune in on Monday morning for Jeff Pearson of Hydra with Hope.
Say, bring me home, out alone, to show me the way. You wanna hold the heart of Sunset Boulevard. Bring me here, 'cause it's not quite